What is going on, everybody? 'Tis I, the enigma of the gun airwaves, Miyanovich, welcoming you to Season 3 of the Liberal Gun Owner's Lens podcast, where unprecedented perspectives are packed into the cargo hold for the LGO Lens spaceship Voyagio.
That's fucking Italian.
Don't believe that evolution is possible with guns and public safety in America? It's already happening, y'all. Minds are evolving. Think guns versus public safety is the only game in town, do ya? Think culture war is the big boss, do ya? Then keep your ass in the past. Everyone else, all aboard! Yeah. Are you hip to the general response of Stoner to everything that happened, and then perhaps his opinions after the war? Did he continue to support the design and the decisions? Did he say the Army made a fucking clusterfuck out of this whole thing? Like, do you know what his overall response was?
Yeah, I don't know what after the war, but I mean, during the war, he met with people and was like, this ammo issue is critical.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they got the idea that you didn't have to clean or lubricate it.
There's always the thing with the dust cover, from my experience, is like, just close your fucking dust cover. Like,
yeah.
Like, who's not closing their dust cover? Is it too annoying for people to just snap their dust cover closed?
Something that gets drilled into you in basic that you have to, but I assume it's the origin. That's why people are so, close your dust cover.
Right.
It seems obvious, but it's spring loaded, and as soon as you charge it or fire it, it opens, and you have to manually close it. So it is something that you have to tell an E1 to do.
The whole gun lore of, like, you can pour sand into an AK-47 right in the fucking chamber, urinate in it to clean it out, and bury it for 40 years, and then pull it out of the dirt, and it will fire like the first day it came off the factory line. But if you leave your AR's dust cover open for 0.3 of a second, it's going to jam for 2 hours straight.
Yeah, that's just silly. And people do these mud tests in a non-scientific way, and it's just for entertainment value. But yeah, I mean, no rifle's gonna work. You pour a bunch of mud into it. I mean,
is there anything worth talking about with the Colt Commando, like the Commando version of the AR, the short special forces version,
R15 or the whatever that was? That's kind of cool. I mean, when you think about it, that was out in the mid-'60s, and it sort of presages the M4 and even shorter versions that are around now. So, I mean, special forces were always, people who drove weapons development because they were small arms is everything for them. Small arms is life. That's what they carry in, and that's all they have. And so they want something shorter or higher rate of fire, or the Stoner 63 that had magazine options that was very popular with the studies and observations group people, So, I think you get a lot of, again, technology development when people who actually use these implements and know what they want and what is needed in a particular operational environment get in the picture and start, well, we're just gonna, we're gonna demand this because we're in a position where we can, and people will listen.
Do you ever take any interest in things like that, like having a Car 15 or doing a build that's like a pistol build or an SBR build or something like that? Is that something that ever interested you?
No, not really. I mean, honestly, you said soulless before. I get that. It's black plastic and aluminum, versus walnut and steel. And I like AKs too, but I mean, it's a chunk of sheet metal that's stamped into. It's not a milled piece of fine steel and beautiful walnut.
And the 1911 is the pistol. Still the pistol.
Still the pistol.
And the tunnel rats are using the 1911 it seems to me that in the movies, I just want to get your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
The flamethrower is more prominent in depictions of Vietnam than it is in bunker busting and dealing with bunkers in World War II, even though to me it seems like it would be way more useful in World War II. Do you know anything about the flamethrower technology and flamethrowers being used in Nam as opposed to World War II?
Yeah, I think flamethrowers were widely used by Marines in the island hopping campaigns in the Army and, in World War II. And I think less so in the European theater. May have had to do with distances or something. I don't know. It was just so frickin' either in hand-to-hand or close to hand-to-hand distances so often in the Pacific theater. The satchel charges and flamethrowers were extremely useful there. In Vietnam, I think it was more often, I have a really negative connotation, often, burning hamlets and villages. Because the guys out on patrols or whatever, seek and destroy missions or identification by reconnaissance or whatever, tripping in ambushes or trying to avoid it, but finding enemy regiments. So carrying a flamethrower for multiple days across through the jungle and hacking your way through it, I don't think it was out there. It was more in the, different, more open field environments or the rice paddies, the villages. And it probably shows up more in our consciousness because it was associated with more negative things.
Which is accentuated often in movies. And I just remember as a kid growing up, it was, saturated with imagery from Vietnam. That was where it was at, much more so than movies about World War II. And, there's always a fucking flamethrower in Chuck Norris movie. There's always going to be a flamethrower.
I had an uncle who operated a flamethrower in World War II in the Pacific. And I tried to interview him once for a high school thing. He was not interested in talking about it. So I'm sure he saw awful things that he did not want to think about.
If you're employing that for real. Yeah. So understandable. I had my best friend from the end of high school until well into my 20s. His dad was in Korea. A very sweet man. He was a professor of dentistry and a little guy, a wiry guy, very smart guy. He would not talk about Korea ever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like my friend, while being nice, was kind of like, don't ever ask because you're not going to get anything.
Yeah, right.
So it's definitely understandable. So I bring that up because we began talking about Korea kind of being the forgotten war, this small little blip thing, but war is brutal, and that war was also fucking brutal on people.
Oh, yeah.
In Vietnam, we're still using the pineapple hand grenades. Like, there's nothing different.
In World War II, they're the sort of serrations on the outside, Mark II, and they're smooth ones, but they're essentially the same thing. HE grenades and lots of smoke grenades for identifying LZs and PZs, for the helicopter war.
Does what happened in Vietnam generally, or with the AR/M16/A1, A2, and the whole evolution there during that time frame, does it push anything? After Vietnam ends, does the United States military really look at the conflict and go, let's make a major effort to improve ABC. Let's move in these different directions. Does it do anything in terms of that rifle?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Obviously the 62 grain round came around. There was the M193 was the 55 grain, and there was some observations that didn't, penetrate or could get diverted in its ballistic path. It is very light compared to what the 7.62 by 39 with the 123 grain. So he plussed up the weight a little bit, put a steel knocker in there that gave better penetration or whatever. So some ammunition development. And then obviously there were, various iterations of the M16 was originally 20-inch barrel. It went down to 16-inch and then 14.5 of M14. And so there's been that drift towards shorter and shorter barrels. And now it always depends. You're always, armies are always designing to the last conflict. So, now they want more reach out and touch something because in Afghanistan, they were getting, ambushed we'll sit back at 500 yards up the hill or 600 yards away and shoot down at you and beyond the effective range of your little 5.56. So that was where this thoughts of the 6.8, intermediate, bringing back in more 7.62 NATO stuff or whatever. I think developments have been more recent.
It's interesting, the Stoner design and where we started.
Mm-hmm.
We're still with it.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. 67 years since, initial trials rifles were military. That's crazy.
Is that happening anywhere else in the same fashion? I can't imagine that it is.
Well, the AK, it's changed rounds from the AK-47 to the AK-74, but its basic structure is still there.
It seems to not have the same, so there's like not reverence, but just the AR seems to just have so much going for it in terms of modularity and adaptability.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
And thoughts about different ways to handle it. But the AK is just like ka-chunk.
Yeah. Well, it was never designed for optics. So this side rail mounting, that's what we were left with the M1 Garand, the M1Cs and M1Bs, and the side mount optics. Is like, what the heck? That's a clunky kludgy solution. And that's what the AK had until the more recent ones.
Once in terms of like the cat's out of the bag thing, once you have this rifle that has stuck now for decades and decades inside of the United States military and has crossed over into the civilian market, once you look at the history, it's pretty easy to understand. I guess in one way it's easy to understand, maybe in another it's not, but in the way that it's easy to understand, it's easy to understand why there's such a connection to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Generations of service people have been brought up on it and trained on it and naturally want something like that when they get out. And, for those of us who weren't in the service, it's still like, oh, yeah, this is the American standard small arm.
And it seems to me like this perfect confluence of traits happens, with weapons. Well, it happens with technology. But I feel in one way very similar about the AR-15 that I do with Glock, because Glock has came upon this basic combination of traits, and the popularity of the Glock is not an accident, for those of us who own them and shoot them and love other pistols, and even love other pistols more than the Glock. Yeah. When you pick up a fucking Glock and you operate it, especially if you have to do anything that's more than standing on a static line and shooting a paper, if you have to do something that's scoot and shooty or pull from your holster or whatever, that fucking gun, that pistol is fucking great. It's not awesome. It's not a Fabergé egg. It's not shit. It's just like this perfect confluence of decent and strong things that's like undeniable.
Yeah. It's lightweight. It works. And it's going to work.
Right. And you also know that nobody else maybe is ever, I just think in terms, maybe I'll get your thoughts on this. I just think semi-automatic pistol design and semi-automatic rifle design is settled for humans.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? Like,
yeah. Right. All the basic operating variants are out there, direct impingement, indirect piston, it's like in different bolt. How many other iterations are there? You're right. They're simple when you think about it. It's converting chemical energy to kinetic energy and using springs to, return to the set position. It's so simple. There's no electricity involved or combustion of petroleum fuels to drive the system, and the energy's all there to drive it. It's
when one of the companies comes up with another black striker fired pistol, and with their new little ding dong that they put to the basic, I'm always like, this is the same fucking pistol. This is the same pistol with a little ding dong on it. There's nothing like new and innovative about this. This is the same fucking pistol.
Right.
And in that regard, I think in many ways, and I would like somebody to prove me wrong, to show me, but I feel like Glock in terms of pistol and the AR in terms of rifle, they basically won the game. Like, the game's over. The design thing is settled. It's not going anywhere else. these two cats found the perfect spot. They're not perfect weapons. Like, they're not going to meet everybody's whatevers. But this game is one, in my opinion. And everybody else is just going to spin around it and, like, try to trick people with smoke and mirrors about, like, our thing is the this or the that. But
yep. And you'll get the same level of passion as a Harley Davidson versus a Japanese motorcycle. Kind of. It's more based on emotion than a set of facts.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is stirring up in me. I'd like to think more about the AR-15 and the confluence of everything that came together and how it has become what it is, and so on and so forth.
Blake Stevens' Black Rifle is where I would start. That's a good book.
I think this is good. We went over an hour. I mean, how it all, it's interesting. It kind of mirrors the reality is how we came to a close, and it just is so definitive. Like, what else is there to talk about? Well, that's two things. Yeah. One is, in terms of milsurp, not very much after the AR-15. I mean, there's some cool stuff happening. Maybe you're in the 70s and 80s with your Czech pistols or something like that. I think that's neat. Those would be good things to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't talk about in terms of milsurp in Vietnam. I mean, it was the other side that was interesting to me. I mean, I've got to bring back, the Tokharovs I showed you earlier, and the SKS, and Type 53, which is just a Mosin Nagant carbine. Not interesting technologically, but interesting from a collecting standpoint.
We can do that. Let's do that the next time.
Okay.
Because I think if we try to push into that, we're going to squeeze too much of good into too little. At an hour and 30 minutes, everybody's brain is scrambled eggs. So that I want to do it justice if we're going to do it. We can do that definitely could do that next time. Or we could even not wait a whole year and maybe do it like mid-year, and then we'll think about what our end of the year thing would be.
It might be shorter too, but it's interesting to me.
What we want to do is, like, we're trying to squeeze your brain. We want, I look at the podcast as like an ethnography, or like for our community, like a snapshot in time of about a 5-year period of what we were doing and what we were thinking and what was available to us. And so you're the guy for the milsurp, and squeeze your brain and get it all out there.
Yeah.
But it is interesting how we're like, because on the American side, right? That's the AR-15 happens, boom, over. Like, it's done now.
Right.
That will be the rifle.
Yeah.
And then also there's another thought in there. Yeah. Just thinking the same thing with the Glock too. It's like, that game's over. Like, the designs are there, and that's that. There's not really, I mean, people can they want to argue this shit. I'm not arguing it. Like, we're going to be moving on fucking phaser, laser, or Star Trek guns next, or something, a new level, because this one's like, it's totally settled. As I said in the beginning, the history of Vietnam is the history of the AR. Like, it's stoner, and then the bullshit that happened, and then that's pretty much it.
And Kalashnikov on the other side.
Maybe that's our idea for the next time. Let's talk about the AK. Let's talk about the things that presage the AK, things that happen after the initial introduction. I think that would be great, because people do. I love the AK. Yeah. You love the AK. People love it.
Right.
We can talk about Galil. We can talk about the VZ58, which is ridiculous that I didn't even think about bringing that up, but it's still. Did I send you the link for the French television piece that David Imani and I did? I did, didn't I?
I think so.
I just was like, I had to have a rifle for this piece, for this segment, and so I was like, I don't know if my shit's zeroed. Like, I've got optics on my rifles, but I haven't zeroed them in like a year. I don't know if that's. But my VZ is always sitting there, and it's zeroed with irons. I just grabbed it, and every time I touch that rifle, I'm like, why do I have other rifles? I love this rifle. You just point it, and the bullets go where you want. And I think I zeroed it 7 years ago. I don't know. Yes, my shots were a little high left. Who cares? But we could talk about the AK, the VZ58, the Galil, what's the Finnish one again? The Valmet. That's it. The Valmet.
Like everything Finnish, it's like like the primo.
That's what AK. Martin Nielsen. Every time I talk about the AK, or I have a Galil, but every time I talk about, he's like, dude, you need to shut up and get a fucking Valmont if you know what's good for you.